Hello guys, this video today will be the first video of a new series that I am doing on the channel. Very similarly to the Warhammer 2 skill guides, these are going to be the skill guides for legendary lords for Warhammer 3. And so, yeah, we're just going to kind of jump right in, and today we're going to be doing Kugath. I do have some things set up here. I just have them numbered. And the S just stands for like special like skill line. So I gotta preface this. I currently play on hard difficulties. However, I feel like this would work on any, depending on the playstyle that you choose. As you see with Nurgle's faction, and especially Kugath, I use Nurgling spam and just use Kugath and some heroes kind of as a Mortis engine. So that's kind of what my skill points are kind of based off of, going from that. But okay, so the numbers on the side, you know, like the S, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 is not the order necessarily in what I put points into. I just put that there just so it's kind of easier to understand what I'm referring to. Because like in Warhammer 2, you know, you had the yellow line, the blue line, and the red line, and now everything is just a red line. That way you guys know, like, you know, if I say like the S line, the special skill line, you know, I'm talking about stuff up here, you know, line 1, line 2, etc., etc. But alright, so you start out with Kugath as hating the dwarves, so that one is kind of like a free skill point, or else I wouldn't put it into it, but it comes with him, it's free, so who cares. But the first thing I do with Kugath, and I highly recommend it, because he does have a pretty gnarly Mortis engine ability called the Pestilent Decay, and that's here in your line 1. And overall, like, if you go with the Mortis engine kind of play style, I highly recommend getting all of these attributes on line 1. His melee defense, give him some better armor, so when he gets shot by missiles, that helps a little bit. Give him some ammo, because his artillery like shot is actually pretty good. More health, because you see he almost has 20,000 health as one unit. More melee attack. More weapon strength, again, more health. He'll, you know, more leadership, basically essentially make him unbreakable. Even though he doesn't have the trait having 109 leadership, he pretty much fights forever. And then ending, you know, with more melee defense, and obviously at the end getting the damage to combatants. And also I kind of want to talk briefly about like this damage per second. I've seen some videos out about people thinking it's misleading. So that's 16 to 32. That is the range of damage depending on the difficulty you play on, and I think, or not the difficulty you play on, but the unit size you play on. So if you play on Ultra, it'll do 32 damage per second. I think it's if you play on Small, you do 16 damage per second, just so they have scaled that. That way it doesn't make, you know, things like in Warhammer 2, like Spirit Leech super overpowered. Now, in terms of the order, you know, that's kind of up to you guys. You know, I'm not saying like necessarily get all this stuff first, then do this line, then this, and you know this. Like, it's gonna come and go. These are just like overall the points that I recommend, which I will put timestamps in the video for you guys to help, you know, kind of see, you know, the S line, line 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. Because as you start leveling up, these will become unlockable pretty early on for you. So I'm not saying like, however, I highly recommend getting to Pestilent Decay. The rest of these will, like the S line, or the S tier, are pretty good, which we'll go over those next. But this line 1 here is just really important to get Kugath to his Pestilent Decay ability. He being able to tank, and then if you get another Nurgle hero, so you can get fleshy abundance to heal him, because as you see here, I do not have him as a spellcaster. I use Kugath 100% as a Mortis Engine. He's not casting anything. That is not his job. And so I have a hero, a Nurgle hero for just basically to heal him. And then just briefly, he does have the Locus of Contagion ability, so he's, does damage for a little bit. But mostly it's to heal the units. But yeah, anyway, back to Kugath. Alright. So yeah, tier 2 then. Talking about tier 2, I don't put any points into his magic. He doesn't make anything cheaper. It costs Kugath the same as a regular hero to cast all of these spells, and he actually only gets 1 point into these compared to 3 points that the heroes get. So it's just, in my opinion, it's not really worth going down his magic line, because you can get arcane conduits with other heroes, so it's really just not a good use of his skill points, I feel like. But it's up to you. It just depends on the kind of the playstyle you're looking for. Alright, and then for we'll move on to tier 3. Again, this kind of just depends on the kind of army build you're going with. So with me going with a Nurgling spam, obviously I'm going to do the nauseating mutations. It provides speed and physical resistance for Nurgle units. The Filth Incarnate, I just did that, just because I need to get to the later tiers here in line 3. So I just did Great Unclean Ones and Soul Grinders just in case I swapped them out and wanted to test something different. And then the Virulent Contagion, if I could talk. Doesn't really provide much in terms of like melee stats, but the 15% missile resistance is really nice because, as you guys probably know, as Nurgle's faction, you're very, very susceptible to missile fire. And then I do get this last ability, the Virulent Contagion again, even though it's the Virulent Contagion, even though it's the same name here. Because that melee defense is -40. I know it has a chain effect, and if you go with a melee kind of focused Kugath, that can be pretty crucial. If for some reason he's about to die, and he's going up against the Lord, getting rid of their melee defense is pretty nice. Alright, we'll go now to line 4, which Root Marcher is nice just for the campaign movement range. Overall, line 4, it's not a necessity. If you wanted to do melee and magic, you definitely could. The only one I really would recommend in line 4 is Root Marcher, just for the campaign movement range. I just went further down the line because I didn't go into his magic and I had the points to spend. So these don't really matter. If you do go down the 4th line here, it really, just pick your poison. There's, recruitment costs, looting, raiding, which I don't raid ever. But I did the corruption. Didn't really worry about lightning strike. I could have gotten it, I guess, but I went with more casualty replenishment rate first, and then the Renowned in Fear just for the upkeep cost and campaign movement range plus 5%. Because campaign movement range, no matter what it is really good. Being able to move around the map as far as you can, that's always nice. And then I think the last few points I just put into Blessed by Blight just for some more upkeep. But you easily could have done Lightning Strike, just in case you want to. But really, for this kind of build, the more armies, the more enemies you have surrounding you, the better. Because both of these heroes have, the Mortis Engine for a little bit. Kugath is constantly a Mortis Engine, assuming you get Pestilent Decay. So really, the more, units you have surrounding you, the better for your Mortis Engine abilities. For that reason, I didn't get Lightning Strike. Alright, lastly, the S tier. He's got a lot of them that are really good. However, not all of them are really like a necessity. Like the Angel of Disease, Nurgling Tide, and Plague Shield are all, they're okay. Nurgling Tide and Angel of Disease, I'd say, are less important. The growth is nice. The Nurgling Tide basically summons, think of it like a Menace Below infused, excuse me, with a Warp Bomb, except the Warp Bomb's just not that strong. I've used it a few times. It's okay. It does something, but it's not gonna like wipe out an entire unit by any means. The Plague Shield's good just for the melee defense +5 for Nurgling units. That's really handy, just to make them take a little longer. But one in the S line here that I highly recommend getting is the Champions of Decay. It allows you to unlock the Plague-ridden heroes, which are like your casters, you know, your Nurgle or Death Magic casters. So, shoot, I grabbed the wrong one. So really comes in handy early on when you can start getting some heroes in there to help you with magic and getting Kugath healed. The Rotting of the Ways is really nice as well, mainly for the 50% chance of increasing the chance of your plagues being spread all armies faction wide, which later in the campaign, like I'm on turn 107 now, every time I basically cast a plague, you know, it spreads to at least 3 or 4 settlements, so it's really good. I don't get the Giggling Grenades. It only bumps it up by 3, so you know it's just not that valuable in my opinion. But you know, a lot of these overall, once you get, I think line 1 is a necessity. You get that done. You get Champions of Decay, Plague Shield, and the others here in the S line. Then it's kind of, you know, pick which ones you want kind of thing. But regardless, I don't recommend getting this. It's just, it's not worth it. If it was like +15, maybe, but the +3 is just not worth it. And then the Pustulant Abundance is really good. It provides regeneration for Nurgling units, recruitment cost reduction, and upkeep for Nurgle's army, which as Nurgle he already provides. Where is it? Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, the Nurgling Infestation. So he starts off with this ability, so they're already regenning from the start, plus you give the units passive regen themselves. So in the battle, they'll have 2 separate things of regeneration. So yeah, they basically take no damage. You know, all things considered, as long as, you know, they don't pop like a purple sun or something down, you know, which you wouldn't blob up in that case anyway, but overall they do a lot better than auto resolve will ever give them credit for. Alright, and then lastly, I just do Plaguefather's Oration. The melee defense and leadership, again, assuming you're going with the blobbing technique, it's just really good to give all your units more leadership and more melee defense, because they're gonna fight better in a blob anyway. And I'll actually fight this battle here just to kind of show you guys. I know it's kind of going longer than I would have liked, but that way you guys can kind of see, you know, how it all works together. How, you know, the Mortis engine, all the abilities being stacked, all kind of works into it. So we'll just jump in here and knock out this battle, and I'll take off the numbers. And then shortly after this video, I'll be uploading this and then starting a live stream. Not sure which one it'll be at this point, in case you watch the video before the stream starts. But yeah, it's. I hope you guys will like the video. Let me know down in the comments, you know, your thoughts, your suggestions for it. You know, or other type of builds you do with Kugath. If you do a different build than what I, you know, kind of have talked about today, you know, whether it's, I don't know, Beast of Nurgle, you know, whatever it may be, I think most of the people will do Nurglings just because he buffs them so much. But yeah, if I start the battle here, right, and just pause it, if I hold it over the Nurgling unit, right, he needs to be closer to them, I think. Alright, so this unit here, right, he's got the Nurgling Infestation and passive regeneration, so there's the two things of regeneration. Granted, they have some extra buffs, you know, because we're in the Chaos Realm right now, so occasionally, or typically that wouldn't be there. But you guys will see what I mean. Once they come in here and we start fighting, I'll pause it just so you guys can kind of see the buffs that are actively going the whole time. Alright, so if I slow down, pop this down, right? Alright, so let's see. On this unit, he's got 65 melee defense. He's got plus melee defense plus 9 because of Cloud of Flies, because he's in melee. He's healing twice, and he's, you know, because of some other abilities, you know, they're also doing fire damage. But we're also fighting in the trees here because they have a lot of large units, and that way, you know, if I click on Kugath here, you know, his melee attack and speed is being reduced, allegedly, but they have a lot more large entities than I do, so it's going to affect them more than me. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't matter what they really do, you know, they just yeah. We'll just fast forward it because this isn't the main point of the battle. It's mainly just to show you guys what's going on. And plus, you see, Kugath is just passively doing damage, you know, to all those units in there. Good. Which, all things considered, if it got really bad, the healing spell is broken right now, where it doesn't, you can do an area of effect where it doesn't like cap in terms of like the number of units it heals. So if you really were getting in a bind and it just wasn't going well for you, you could always pop that down. For example, see, it's healing every single unit. Every single unit. So, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could keep your magic. Or, you know, if you saw a unit about to, you know, be killed, basically, you could do something about it. you have options at your disposal to keep them all from dying, basically.
Decimate them.
Good. We'll just fast forward this a little bit. The video's already gone longer than I would have liked. Definitely we'll do some, for being like a first video really for a level up guide, you know, it's gonna kind of be trial and error for a little bit. So I hope you guys bear with me a little bit, and I'm not too too upset that it took so long. The other thing you can do too is, even though we're taking very minimal casualties, I mean, you could always grab the replenishment at the end of the battle. It's not a necessity. I mean, you can fight countless types of armies with this type of build. You can constantly be debuffing enemies. You got essentially 3 Mortis engines from time to time. They're not actually, once they get leveled up, the heroes aren't too bad at melee either, so they're holding a lot longer. Yeah, close victory, whatever. But yeah. So like, as this goes through, I'm just gonna end the video there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know I kind of went through it a little fast, a little slow at times. Hopefully it answered, you know, potentially any questions, that I offered enough explanation. Which, if there's anything either on either of like the skill lines that I didn't explain thoroughly enough, you guys can definitely leave a comment or talk to me during the live stream today or future live streams. And if you have a question, just feel free to post a comment and let me know if I missed something. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the first video, and I will see you guys very soon for the live stream.